Now we're going to continue with our beautiful alumni panel. And then we have Jada that's virtually joined us from Colorado. Yay! So that's amazing. So now the reason why I brought our alumni to share their story with everybody is because I want everyone to see some of the work that we're doing at Revolution. And we have started for quite some time, but we never really get a chance to bring our alumni. But now I feel like it's time. So I am going to ask Sana and Jada to share a little bit about themselves, who they are, what is it that you do now, and then we can go on with the questions after. So let's start with Jada.
Hello, my name's Jada. I was in the Stemming Up program in 2019, and since then I stayed involved with Revolution. I was on the ambassador committee, the Stemming Up committee. I helped create the curriculum for the Go STEM program and for the Stemming Up program. And then since then, I had an internship at Splunk last year, and this year I've returned to Splunk again as a technical curriculum developer intern, and I'm in person this year in Boulder, Colorado. I'm currently doing a degree in computer science at York University with a professional certificate in human resources management.
Thank you, Jada. Thank you. Thank you both. So, yes, I'm going to have some questions. If anybody else have questions for them as well. What made you join Revolution? What was the thing that you thought, okay, I think I'm going to sign up for this program? What made you get started with Revolution? Why did you sign up? And be like, yeah, I think this is a cool program, so let me sign up.
Yeah, I think 2019. So I was going into grade 12, I think. It was either grade 11 or grade 12. Hard to remember at this point. But I had done, I think, Technovation, which was with Shopify, and they had mentioned to some of the participants about stemming up. And at the time, I had taken a computer science class in school, but I did notice that in my classes, it was pretty much majority guys. Like there was only maybe, I want to say 5 people in the class who weren't guys. And it was very apparent that there was a gap there. So it really interested me to hear that there was a program that was geared specifically to gender minorities within STEM. I was very excited about computer science and about math. So I think I had just decided, well, this sounds like a cool program. I want to sign up. And when I was in the program, I think the main part that stood out to me was having that breadth of knowledge, being able to get insight into business side of things and to hear from people who are actually in the industry, because that's all stuff that I didn't get in school, even though I had computer science classes at my school. I never taken any business courses. I didn't meet anyone who was in the industry. So having those insights really opened my eyes, I guess, to the possibilities. And then since then, I stayed involved, and now I'm working in the industry as well.
Thank you, Jada. What would be a piece of advice that you think that you can give to any young person that might even be interested in STEM or in this industries? Like, what would you tell them if someone would be your age when you started, even younger? Because we all know that when the reason why I say, what would you tell your 12-year-old self? Young women when they're 12, this is when they kind of start figure out whether do I want to be cool or do I want to be smart or do I want to, but what would you give? What kind of advice would you give a young woman that would be 12 and up?
Like say yes to opportunities. I think related to that, I would say don't put yourself in a box. I think like what you were saying, Doina, that when you kind of enter that like becoming a teenager phase, it's a lot, I'm this type of person or I want to be this. But oftentimes that kind of closes doors that might have led to something that you really enjoy. So I would say just not limiting yourself, not being afraid to try new things or things that maybe you hadn't done before or that you don't think fit with who you are. I think just being open to those opportunities and being willing to try things out because you might discover new things about yourself.
Thank you, Jada. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else have any questions for our alumni before I go on and ask another question? Anybody want to ask questions? Feel free to ask. I say, ask now or forever hold. Well, I have a question. So, when you were in the program, in the seminar program, what was the thing that stood out for you that you thought, like, this is so cool that I actually have, that I have this in the program? Like, what are the things that you thought were beneficial or something that we offered and other programs, similar programs don't have?
But for me as well, I think what stood out was definitely the guest speakers throughout the program. I think, like I mentioned earlier, like I didn't really have any exposure to business side of education. So being able to hear that perspective and being able to hear about like entrepreneurs, what people were doing with their own companies, or even just what it was like working in the industry. I think that really stood out for me and inspired me, as well as the mentor I was paired with after the program. I think I had learned Python when I was in the program. And then I was able to go further with that afterwards, working with the person I was paired with as a mentor. I think we ended up doing like a little GitHub project. We made a little app, but I was able to kind of expand on what I had learned. I think she taught me about like APIs. She taught me how to use GitHub, use different programming languages, and gave that additional insight. And I would say also after the program, still having more opportunities with Revolution. So it's not just once you're finished, that's it. Being able to apply the knowledge that you gained in the different committees or just volunteering or even passing on my knowledge to future students, like what I was able to do when I was working with the Stemming Up program and the Go STEM program. I think that's what really stood out to me.
Thanks, Jude. I was actually going to follow up on that. I was going to ask, like, you've been in the program, both of you, and both of you have been involved in Revolution afterwards. So I wanted to hear, I'm sure everybody wants to hear that, because we say a lot when we are outreaching for our program, we say, once you get started with Revolution, you don't just start in that program. You in it for as long as you need to. You don't have to go, but there's so many different opportunities. So you both have different experiences when you came, after the program. So if you don't mind sharing, your like what you actually did and how do you think that actually helped you with your career where you are today. So Jada, okay. Jada, do you mind sharing your experience after the program?
Yeah, so after I was in the Stemming Up program, I'm a bit foggy on the order of things, but I know I continued as part of the ambassador program. And I think during that,
You were one of the first ambassadors actually, because we just developed the ambassador program right after. So you're one
yes,
of the first round of ambassadors for Revolution.
yeah, that was very exciting. So I was helping with running the GoSTEM program that year, and I think I had helped create the HTML and CSS curriculum for that year, as well as working with the volunteers from the partner companies to teach the coding classes for the GoSTEM program. So that on its own was already like such a cool opportunity to be able to work with people who were in industry when I think I was like 17 or 18 during that
Yes.
summer. And then after that, I was part of the Stemming Up committee. So I helped with the outreach to different high schools around Ontario to recruit more students for the program. And I think I did that for 2 years. And I was also the summer coordinator 1 year for the Stemming Up program. So I got to see kind of the other side of things, how everything was run. I got to see the impact that it made on the students who were coming in that year. And I think after that, I was the curriculum developer for the Stemming Up program. So I helped create the JavaScript curriculum for that year. And it was actually from there through networking and all of the connections I was able to make through Revolution that I had heard about the position I'm currently working in. So it was kind of a full journey from beginning to end, and that's pretty much I'm where I am now because of the connections I was able to build through Revolution.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Oh my god, okay.
Someone grab the napkin.
Yes. So I'm really trying not to cry. Like I'm becoming really good at this. Yes. With Jada, I remember Jada said, I don't have much time. I'm really busy, but then she come back. Can I do anything? Is there anything like, do you need any help with anything? And next you know, she had access to email, she cleaned it up. She's like, I just sorted it out. I was like, thank you so much. It's just so nice to see. And you know, and for you guys to come back in the program and to even speak to our participants, you know, you definitely feel like there's a greater outcome from the program. You know what I mean? It's so important. Just as you have had professionals to come and inspire you, you get to inspire, you know, the next generation as well. So to me, you're my role model, and I feel like when I grow up, I want to be just like you. So, yes, I really do. Yes.
Is it too late to ask a question?
Go ahead, ask the question.
First of all, what an honor it is to meet both of you, virtually and in room. I was with a cybersecurity company for 3 years. I know the stats really well on women's representation, so I'm so excited for the work that this organization, Revolution, is doing. My question is this. You're both with some heavy hitter brands right now. Splunk was recently acquired by Cisco, so now they're known as a Cisco company. So I'd love to know if you have, how have you talked about Revolution up the food chain in your organizations and been an ambassador within the very companies that you're now either interning or employed? And if you haven't, what are your plans to do so?
So something that actually Splunk does for the interns is they have I guess a branch of the company called Splunk for Good. And part of that is when you're first hired, they give you a stipend to do a donation for charity of your choice. So I had actually chosen to give mine to Revolution. And part of that, they have a internal, like I guess like a charity campaign portal where you're able to kind of start one on that site, and then other employees within the company will be able to see that campaign. So I had actually written a little blurb about Revolution, kind of explained my own history with the organization, and I had set that up for on that internal charity portal, as well as posted in kind of the company Splunk for Good like Slack channel about it.
That's excellent. Thanks. Congrats again.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? Yes, I'm not going to cry. So, yeah, I'm like, I'm holding so hard on my part. I'm on everywhere. If you see me, one is blue. I think if you just put on blue, then I'm crying somewhere everywhere. I always cry. For me, it's so touchy feely because I think a lot of people know that when I started Revolution, it was not something that was easy to do, and then I didn't think that it will make the impact that it's making, you know, and then to see like actually happening. And one thing that has been very important to me was it's not let's make an impact and have 500 people in one room for an hour to get them excited and they have to go. Like how can we make that long-term impact and to see that you're actually getting into the field, you're actually studying this, you're coming back to support more young women like you. That's the impact that I wanted to make, and that this is why we're all here too, right? Like to support the organization for this reason, and to see this happening is just one of those out-of-body experiences. It's so amazing. So thank you. Thanks for being here to share this. And I don't know if anybody else have any more questions for Jada and Sana. Please feel free to ask.
Well, since here, I'd like to highlight that Omi in the chat has said it's inspiring to see our alumni working in the field at such prestigious tech companies.
Yes.
And for Jada as well. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you.